Hello and welcome back to Crafty Nana Dawn. This is Dawn. Thank you for joining me for part 2 of the Fab-Boo-lous trifold album. You're going to get started by cutting a 4-inch circle out of lemonade. And what I've done here is I've placed it on my all-purpose mat, and I'm using Tim Holtz distressed ink in the colors of wild honey, spiced marmalade, mustard seed, and carved pumpkin. And I'm just kind of going back and forth between those colors to get the effect that I like. When I ink blend, I always start off of the mat, on my mat, on my all-purpose mat with the ink, and then I bring it onto my cardstock in like a circular motion. I find this way it doesn't leave strong color. And as you can see, I'm just going to keep going until I get the effect I want and working in a circular motion. The next thing we're going to do is cut a piece of charcoal cardstock at 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. And then I'm using some of the distress ink. I believe it was the carved pumpkin. And I'm just going around that on the cardstock so that I know where the moon's going to be, so that I can make sure that I get my most intense colors there so that it looks like the moon is shining. So again, you can see that I am putting the ink right onto my mat, my all-purpose mat, and then I'm just kind of blending it. Because this paper was so dark, it took a lot of blending. I also wanted it to be a little bit brighter, so that's when I brought in the mustard seed color, and that kind of added that yellow tint to it that I needed. And I just kept going between those colors until I got the desired effect that I wanted. And every once in a while I would take and put the moon on there just to see how it was looking, and then I would continue on. Okay, now that I like the color around the moon, I'm going to take my Tim Holtz Distress Black Spot and also Hickory Smoke, and I'm going to go around the edges just to kind of darken the edges a little bit and trying to give it a little bit of a smoky, kind of misty mood. So I will just alternate between the black dot spot and the Hickory Smoke. I mostly use the Hickory Smoke. Be careful with the black. You don't want to get it too dark. And as you can see, I'm just using the same technique. I'm going in a rounded, going in a circle with that ink, putting it on my all-purpose mat, starting off the mat and going to the paper. I will also, I believe I get this too dark, so I go back to my other colors just to lighten it up a bit, and I keep doing this until I am satisfied with it. Now I just placed the moon to check and I was satisfied with it, so I'm going to take my shimmer clear brush pen. I'm going to squeeze a little bit out onto my all-purpose mat, and then with a tapping motion, I'm going to just drop some drops on there, trying to give it like a starry effect. And I will continue to put those on until I get the amount that I like. I'm going to show you here off camera. I did put some shimmer brush on that moon. I also added it to the windows. I cut some pieces of lemonade cardstock, and I did some ink blending around the edges with the carved pumpkin. When you glue this down, the haunted house down, make sure that you do not glue around those bottom windows. You want to make sure that you leave that open. As you can see, I have some white paper in there, and those do slide out so that pictures can go in there. Also using my wax pencil from Close to My Heart to add some sequin stars that I had in my stash, just to give it a little bit of pizzazz, if you will. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this page into the middle of our trifold book, and that's going to be where we have those pages that fold into each other, and I'm going to glue that down in there. The next thing we're going to do is cut 4 pieces of pattern cardstock 7 by 7, and you can either use tape or glue, and we're going to put these on the pages that are facing you, the front side of the pages. All right, now you're going to cut 1 piece of melon cardstock and 1 piece of linen cardstock 7 by 7, and we're going to put that on the inside pages of the opposite side of the ones we just did with the pattern cardstock. Okay, we're done with the middle for right now. We'll come back to it later. We're going to move on to the cover, the right side, the part that folds into the trifold. Originally, this was blue, the blue star paper, but I changed it. I did not like it, so I changed it to the black and white polka dot paper, and we're going to put that on. You're going to cut that 7 1/8 by 7 1/8. Also, remember to put your magnet down. So we're going to use either tape or glue, whichever you're more comfortable with. If you also notice, I put a piece of white paper there because it was hard to see where to place that paper on that cover. Okay, next we're going to move to the flap, the inside flap, and we're going to put the potion bottle paper, and that paper is 6 1/8 by 4 3/4. We're going to get that adhered down, and then we will take a strip of the star paper, and that's 1 1/2 by 6 1/8, and we're going to adhere that down. Once we have that done, we will move to the front of that flap. You can see where I changed that paper. The star paper is on the inside of that cover. I didn't like it. That's why we went with the black and the white polka dot. Okay, so now we're going to take a piece of Seabrook, and that is cut at 6 1/4 by 6 inches, and we're going to adhere that down. Once we have that adhered down, we will take 2 strips of the potion bottle paper, and we're going to put one on the top and one on the bottom, and I just cut that so that it was just above the potion bottles, and you're going to cut that to the length of 6 1/4. From the sticker sheet, we're going to take our stickers and make a little seam. I put powder on the back of these so that I was able to play with them. So the stickers we're going to use are the 2 potion bottles, the cauldron, and the kitty. And as you can see, I'm just kind of playing with them. And I'm going to, once I like it, adhere them down. But first I'm wondering if I need something else. So I didn't like that one. So nope on the bat. Next I'm going to try the stars, and I do end up liking those. So I'm going to put the stars on there. And once I have those arranged, I will start gluing everything down. I want to give the book, the spell book, and the kitty cat a little bit of dimension, so I'm taking the Close to My Heart thin foam tape. This works really well because it's not going to make it too bulky. It's just going to give it enough dimension that you can see that it's lifted a little bit. Once we're done with that, I will take my shimmer brush and I'm going to brush onto the stars some shimmer. We're going to move to the inside of that flap. You're going to cut your paper, the one with the cats and the graves, 7 1/8 inches wide by 7 1/4 inches long. You're going to adhere that to the inside page of that flap. On the opposite side of that page, we're going to cut our potion bottle paper to 5 inches by 7 1/8. And then we're going to cut 2 of the black and white polka dot papers into strips that are 1 by 1 1/4 by 7 1/8. And then we will adhere that down. You can see here how much better this page looks with that black and white polka dot paper. Now we're going to move to the inside cover. You're going to cut your black and white polka dot paper to 3 1/4 by 7 inches. And then you're going to use the Seabrook star paper from your paper pack. You're going to cut that at 6 7/8 by 2. When you adhere this down, I would use glue, not tape. The glue will allow you some wiggle room where the tape will just adhere right away. Off camera, I cut some tags so that you could see what that looked like. Now we're going to take the Halloween cutie, and I'm going to fussy cut this because I just want the Halloween sticker. So I'm going to take my scissors and fussy cut around that, and then I'm going to play with some stickers and come up with a design for that front panel. Okay, now you're going to cut a piece of paper, the star paper, and you're going to cut that at 1 inch by 7 1/4 inches, and we're going to adhere that to the spine in between the waterfall and the trifold that folds into each other. Next, we're going to work on the trifold. We're going to work on the top panel. You're going to cut a piece of linen cardstock at 6 inches by 4 inches. And I'm just dry fitting that here. Once I'm sure that it fits, I'm going to put it on my all-purpose mat, and I'm going to take the Tim Holtz Distress ink in the Hickory Smoke, and I'm going to ink blend all the way around that card. I want to make that a little bit dark. So we're going to go all the way around that with the Hickory Smoke with the same technique that we've used before, putting the ink on the mat and then start working on the paper. Now we're going to take a piece of charcoal. I just used a scrap, and we're going to make the dirt. To make this, you're going to make your tears away from you. Close to My Heart has a white core, and we don't want the white to show. So by tearing it away from us, we're able to just have the gray. And then I'm going to just dry fit it, make sure that it fits. And then we're going to ink it all the way around with that charcoal ink. I took a stamp from the Background Element stamp set to add texture to the dirt. You can either do this with the stamp, or you could probably leave it alone, or maybe use a little bit of a sponge to get some of that texture. Okay, now we're going to start building our scene. From the sticker sheet, you're going to pull the ghost, the 3 gravestones, and one of the pumpkins, one of the smaller pumpkins, and also this sticker that says Beautiful. We're only going to use the boo part, so you're going to fussy cut around that. Here I'm just kind of arranging them the way I want. Once I get this the way I want it, I will take some ink and I'm going to ink around the boo. And then we will set it aside and work on our skeleton. We're going to take the skeleton and we're going to stamp him. We're going to take the stamps from the Beautiful stamp set, and we're going to take the skeleton and we're going to stamp him on a sheet of, not a sheet, but a scrap of white paper. We're also going to use, do you see that little piece of foam from the stamp set? That will help you to get a crisp image. So we're going to set that down, and then we're going to put our skeleton into the intense black ink from Close to My Heart. And I'm just checking to make sure I have it all inked up. And the same way we've done before, we will take that skeleton, we're going to put it directly onto the paper, and with light pressure, hold it for a few seconds and then pull it up. Once we've done that, we're going to take the thin cut die and we're going to line that up, and we'll cut that out on our die machine. Okay, next we're going to take a black marker. I'm using my Copic black marker, and we're going to color all the way around the skeleton, and we're going to color his eyes. I saw this idea on Crafty Concepts with Aaron, and I thought it was just brilliant. It makes it look like one of those dancing skeletons that you see in one of those old-time cartoon movies. So we're going to do that and just carefully color all the way around. Okay, we're gonna dry fit our skeleton onto the dirt. I'm gonna make sure I have him where I want him to be, because I'm gonna cut a little bit of a slit so that I can kind of slip him in there so it looks like he's coming out from the dirt. Once I determine where he's going to be and I make the slit, I'm also going to take my ink and just ink around it a little bit. And then we will adhere everything down. We're going to take our panel and we're going to glue it down. Before you glue this down, don't do what I did. I forgot to do this part. Make sure that whatever you're using for a tie, whether it be the black seam binding or ribbon, you want to make sure that you put that on before you glue this down. With the zip strips from the pattern paper, we're going to add that to the bottom part of each panel on the waterfall, and we're going to alternate those. With the Hickory Smoke distressed ink, we're going to distress the sides of the pages on the waterfall. Here's where I try and correct my mistake. I take my paper crafting tool from Close to My Heart, and with this tool it helps make it easier to lift that paper up so that I can slip my seam binding in there. If you're following along with me, then you have also not put that ribbon or seam binding on the bottom there. You can either do what I'm doing here by taking something and lifting that paper a little bit to get that ribbon or seam binding in there, or you can also underneath that last waterfall page, you can put a photo place card and apply your ribbon or seam binding under it. From your sticker sheet, you're going to grab the washi tape, the long stickers, the ones with the pumpkins, the hanging pumpkins, and the stripes. And we're going to alternate those on the top of each panel on that waterfall. I'm going to start with the pumpkins, and then I go to the striped, and I keep doing that until I'm done. Our waterfall is completed. I decided to add a pocket page. You're going to take your heavyweight black cardstock and you're going to cut one piece at 7 3/4 by 8 1/4 and one at 7 1/8 by 7 1/4. Don't pay attention to the markings on the paper. Those are incorrect. I will be making corrections later in this video, as you will see. You're going to score on 3 sides at a 1/2 inch and then fold in 2 sides, making sure the top is open. You're not going to fold in the other score line. That score line will be used as our hinge. As you can see, I'm just kind of trimming it to make sure that I get a nice fold. And once I'm satisfied with that, I will start putting my other sheet of paper onto this. I'm just going to make sure that hinge can fold nicely back and forth. We're going to adhere one side, just the bottom part, with the glue, and then I'm going to take some tape, just some Scotch tape, and I'm going to put that over the bottom. The reason for this is so that when I put that tag in, it doesn't get caught on that bottom piece. When you put the Scotch tape on, don't press down too hard. You just want to make sure that you get the bottom part and the top part of that tape adhered. Where that line is, try not to touch that, otherwise it will defeat the purpose. Once you're done with this, you're going to apply glue to the other side that's scored to make your envelope. Just put a bead of glue on the side where the hinge is so that your flap is closed. I'm going to take my envelope punch board and I'm going to position that into the middle of my pocket just to make a little bit of a punch there. You don't have to do this. You could also use a round punch or leave it alone. I'm going to put this because I like the little V shape that it makes. We're going to take a piece of melon cardstock and cut it at 7 inches by 7 inches and use the punch board, the envelope punch board, to punch that center in. If you flip over your VersaMat, it has a spongy side which will help with your stamping. We're going to start to stamp around the edges of this melon cardstock. I'm going to use the stamp set from the Close to My Heart, the Fab-Boo-lous stamp set. And we're going to take the spider web and we're going to put it on our Close to My Heart block. And with black ink, we will stamp around that edge. So I'm going to take the stamp and put it into the black ink. Now I haven't seasoned this stamp because I've used it before. If you're using this for the first time, take that stamp and rub it around on the back of your hand or your arm. I'm going to place that stamp, I'm going to put it straight down onto the paper, and then I'm going to hold it for a few seconds, applying slight pressure so that I get a nice image. And then what I did was I did 2 of these at a time, and I tried to move the stamp so that I would get a little bit of a different image with each one. And after I get this stamped, I'm going to take my embossing powder. This is a clear powder with like a glitter in it. And I'm just going to hold that over my coffee filter and sprinkle that on. And then just give it a little bit of a tap. And then take my heat gun and I will apply the heat to that. Once you can see, you'll be able to see that start to change. Don't overheat it. Once you see it to change, move the heat gun. You can see that a little bit on the paper here. And you're going to repeat this process all around the page. off camera, I made a photo place card. I took 4x6 piece of white daisy cardstock and mounted it onto a black core cardstock, and then I trimmed it so that it had about 1/8 of an inch all around. I'm going to just place it on the melon cardstock right now. I'm not going to adhere it. I'm just using it so that I can have the placement for my spiders. Again, I did not season this because I've already used it several times. So I'm just going to dip my spider into the black ink, and then I'm going to go straight down onto the paper. Well, first I'm going to use my chamois because I got ink on the block, and if I don't do that, I will have ink everywhere. So I'm going to put that straight down onto the paper, hold it there for a few seconds, applying some light pressure so that I get a nice image. And I'm going to repeat that with 2 more times. I'm going to put my embossing powder and then just tap it off. I suggest that at this point you use your heat tool to heat that up. I did not, and I was very lucky that I did not mess it up, because I'm actually very surprised that I didn't mess it up. So I'm going to do the next one, and I'm going to repeat this process for all of them. Now I'm going to take and turn over my VersaMat so that we can add our lines to our spiders. I'm going to make sure that I line that up on the bottom, and I'm just going to put a piece of tape there to kind of hold it in place until I put my T-ruler down. That way it doesn't move on me. And then I will take my T-ruler and I'm going to put that on the edge of my VersaMat and line that up in the center of the spiders. And I'm going to take my black fine point marker and I'm going to start from the top all the way to the spider. And I'm going to do that for all 3 of the spiders. Once I've completed that, I will adhere the picture place card. And I will also use my T-ruler to make sure I get that straight. Okay, now we're going to take this and we're going to glue it to the front side of that pocket page. And once we have that glued down and where we want it, we're going to start on the other page, on the other side of it. We're going to cut our Seabrook paper to 7x7 and also put the middle notch in it using our envelope punch board or whichever you've decided to use. Now for this, I used my T-ruler and I kind of made like a grid just to give myself a guide of where to put those faces. This isn't absolutely necessary. I'm just a perfectionist and needed something to kind of go by. If you choose to do this, make sure that when you use your pencil, that you go very, very lightly so that you're able to erase this. Okay, I've turned my VersaMat over so that I have that soft side facing up. Again, I've put a scrap piece of white paper on here, and then there's 3 faces. I'm going to alternate these faces. So I'm going to get my black ink, and I'm going to start with the first one, and I'm going to put that in that first square that I have. I will take that block, I'm going to make sure all the ink is off of it, of course. Set it straight down, give it a little bit of pressure, and then lift it up. Then I'm going to count 2 blocks because there's 3 faces, and I'm going to repeat that same face after I put the embossing powder down. And I'm going to continue this for the whole page. Okay, I've completed erasing all those lines off, and now I'm going to take my all-purpose mat and place my page on top of it with the black spot ink from Tim Holtz, the Distress ink. I'm going to just do a little bit of inking on the sides just to darken up the sides of that. And I'm going to take that and go all the way around using the same process as I have before, placing my ink on my mat, placing my blender onto the mat first, and then in a circular motion going around. Off camera with the White Daisy cardstock, I cut 2 pieces at 3 inches by 4 inches and then put that onto the black core cardstock and cut about 1/8 of an inch around it. And then I'm going to place these onto my page. The picture place card that's overlapping, you want to make sure that you do not glue that piece that's overlapping so that a picture can slide in there. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this page and we're going to put it onto our pocket page. So we're just going to glue that on. Okay, I'm going to adhere that pocket page to the inside of the spine. I'm going about 1 inch from the middle of that spine, and I'm just going to draw myself a line as a guide. Then I'm going to take that page and the part of the score line that we're using as a hinge, I'm going to apply the glue and then line that up with the line that I've made and adhere that down. Okay, you're going to cut 2 strips of the star paper, one at 7/8 of an inch by 7 1/4, and that one will be adhered to the spine where the pumpkin faces are. And then the other one will be at 1/2 an inch by 7 1/4, and that's going to go on the side with the spiders. We're going to go back to the middle of the book, and we're going to use that base as our page, the black cardstock. We're going to cut a piece of pattern paper, the one with the cats and the gravestones, at 5 inches by 7 1/4 inches, and we will adhere that to the left side of the page. I've already pre-cut the picture placement page, just as we've done in the past. It's a piece of white daisy cardstock. It's 6 by 4, and then about 1/4 of an inch around is the black core cardstock. From the sticker sheet, we're going to take the black striped paper and we're going to put that on the side with that pattern paper. I lifted a little bit so that I could tuck it under. And then on the other side, we're going to use the striped, the excess of that sticker on the other side. On the black side, we're going to take the pumpkins from the sticker sheet and we're going to arrange those one on top of each other. And I kind of moved them so they were facing different ways. Once I'm satisfied with the way they look, I'm going to glue them down. And then I take the dots, the melon color dots, and I place that around them, around the pumpkins. And then I take my, my white gel pen and I just make little dots. I apologize, I lost the footage for this page, so I'm going to walk you through it. We're just going to build on the black page on the cardstock. And what we're going to do is here, I took my shimmer brush and I just kind of tapped it all over to make these little dots. Then you're going to take the spider zip strip and you're going to put it on the top. You're going to take the orange striped paper. You get, let's see, it's 7 by about 1 3/4, and you're going to put that on the bottom. I'm going to glue this on. Then you can take the spider zip strip and put that above it. This is from the sticker sheet, and I backed it onto the charcoal paper and glued that here. This is the large spider, and then you're going to adhere your the melon colored dots. You will do these the skeletons the same way that we've did them for the waterfall. You're going to make 2 of those. Then you're going to take some white cardstock, 3 by 3, and you're going to back it onto the charcoal paper and cut that around, leaving about 1/8 of an inch. When you apply the skeletons, you're going to put them behind the photo place card with the hands hanging in the front so that you can place a picture underneath them. I also took some white pen and I just highlighted the eyes. Okay, we're going to start working on the cover. We're going to work on the haunted house that's on the cover. We're going to take Pebble cardstock and we're going to cut it 7 by 7 with the light side facing up. We're going to put that on our scoreboard, and we're going to score at every 1/2 inch all the way down the page. So it'd be 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/2 inch. And you should have these lines on your paper. You can't really see them right now, but once we start our inking, you will. We're going to take our all-purpose mat, place that down. And with the Hickory Smoke Distress ink, we're going to start to shade this in. I'm going to put down my ink. And I'm going to start by going off the paper and coming onto the paper in a circular motion. And I'm going to work my way all the way around. Okay, now we're going to start doing the middle part. So I'm going to take this Hickory Smoke. I'm going to dab it on my mat a little bit, and then I'm lightly going to go in a circular motion all over this paper. And I'm just wanting to give it just a little bit of a haze. Now with the black spot, I'm going to put some on the page, on the my mat, and I'm going to take my blender. I'm going to kind of mix that in there. Then I'm very lightly going to go over this. I started on the top part where the roof goes, just in case I got it too dark. And what I'm trying to do is just bring out those lines. I'm going to take the bottom part of the roof and I'm just going to put it on here. And I'm going to take this black ink and I'm going to go in a circular motion all the way around. I'm shading both the roof and the underneath part of the roof. You see that? And I'm just going to make sure I get that right in the crevices. Just going to take that all the way around. Okay, and I'm just going to set that aside. Now I'm going to take my other pieces, the bottom piece, and I'm just going to set that where it needs to go so that I can also shade there. And again, I'm just going to take my, oops, got too much. I'm going to take my shading and just kind of go over that. And I'm also going to shade this piece with that ink. I'm going to try and work this in a little bit because it was too much. So I'm going to try and take a little bit of that off. Grab a paper towel and see if that works. One good thing with this, the blending inks, is they don't dry right away. So you are able to do a little bit of this kind of stuff if you get too much on. I think that's fine. All right, now I'm gonna put the windows on. And I'm just placing them. It doesn't have to be precise. Because basically I just want to make sure that I shade around them. I'm going to grab my pencil. And I'm just going to make a couple of marks around where the window will go so that I can put a little bit darker shading there. And we'll set those aside. I'm not going to re-ink. I'm just going to use the ink that's already on my mat. I'm just testing it up on where the roof is going to go. And then I'm very lightly, with a light pressure, going to go around here. And I'm just doing it so that it brings out some shadows. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of guesstimate where the door would be and just add some shadow there too. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm going to add some more on this side. There. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of ink down. And I'm going to take my water bottle and I'm just going to spray a little bit of water on there. And then I'm going to take a fan brush and I'm going to pick this up. Make sure I got it on there. Okay, and now with a tapping motion, I'm going to add some splatter. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Clean off my mat. I'm going to turn this over because it's driving me crazy. Okay, I'm going to take those lemonade pieces and with the carved pumpkin, I'm going to ink blend around the around all the edges. Okay, we're going to set these aside and we're going to bring in our windows, our columns, our door, the door frame, and we're going to ink blend around these. With this, we're going to use the black spot. We're going to start to assemble this. We're going to start with the bottom piece, and we're going to glue this onto the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to put the columns next. I'm going to put the small on the columns. You can see there's a thicker side and a smaller side. The smaller side is going to go on the bottom. And I'm going to put that right up against or just shy of the edge of my paper. Okay, and we're going to repeat that for the other one. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit shaky. I didn't have breakfast yet. And I don't want to stop yet. Okay, now we're going to take the bottom piece of the roof and that's going to go next. I'm going to line this up with the edge. Make sure I got it on the other edge. Good. And we will glue that down. Oops. A little bit off. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to take the glitter piece and we're going to put that on top. This pattern is on the Cricut Design Space. I did link it below. If you don't have Cricut Design, you could probably make this on your own by just taking the measurements and cutting it out. Okay. All right, there we go. Now we're going to take the door And we're going to put that on, and that's going to go in the middle, or the door frame rather. But first I'm going to glue it onto the yellow part. Almost forgot the yellow part. Okay, now we're going to glue this down. And we're going to try and glue this into the middle. And that looks about the middle. Okay, now we're going to take the stoop part and we're going to put it right there. And this is also with the glitter. And me being me, I forgot to put this piece on. So I'm going to have to kind of pull this up a little bit. I actually use this tool a lot. So if you're following along, I apologize. If you're not and you're watching this first, put this piece on before you put the roof on. Okay. Might need to release that a little bit more. Okay. That should slide up there now. There. And now I'm just going to put a little bit of glue where I pulled it up. And press that back down. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the window and I'm going to just put a little bit of glue all the way around the yellow piece. This is the half circle window. I got too much glue, so I'm going to take a little bit off. I'm not going to put glue in these parts because I'm going to be tucking the ghost in. Okay. We'll put some glue on the back and we're going to glue that right above the door. Now I'm going to take the door and I'm going to align it from the bottom against this here and just maybe leave just a little bit showing of this yellow here. And I'm going to glue that down. Okay. I'm not going to attach the windows yet because we still need to put our skeleton in there. So what I'm going to do is just attach the top part. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the top and attach that to the yellow piece. Okay. Now with what's left on our ink thing, we're going to just go around all the sides of this. Okay, next we will do our stamping. Okay, with my perfect stamping positioning tool, I'm going to take the Fab-Boo-lous stamps and I'm going to position them where I want them. I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock, magnets down to hold the paper in place. And what I'm going to stamp is the ghost, the kitty, I'm using this tool so that I can do them all at once. The skeleton, the pumpkin, okay, so we're going to turn that over, pick those up, and then with my close to my heart intense black ink, I'm going to ink these. I've used these stamps before, so they did not need to be seasoned. Okay. Then we're going to take this, close it, and apply some pressure. Okay, let's see what our, yeah, we need to re-ink that again. And now we're going to start coloring. For the ghost and the skeleton, I'm going to use my black Copic marker. That side, this side. And I'm just going to color in his eyes with the black. And the mouth. And then with the cheek, I'm going to use the bright pink blend of my Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend, and I'm going to use the light side, and I'm going to color in his cheeks. The skeleton, we're going to do the same way we did in the previous videos. Okay, now I'm going to start coloring in the pumpkin, and I'm going to use the orange blend of the Tri-Blend Spectrum Noirs. I'm going to start with the dark color. And with this dark color, I'm just going to use like a little flicking motion on the top. And the bottom here. And then a little bit on the sides. Now I'm going to take the medium color and I'm going to go right over that dark color I just colored with the flicking motion. And because these are alcohol-based markers, it will blend in to each other. And I'm just going to work this around. You can see here it's starting to blend. Okay. And now I'm going to take my light color and I'm going to color the whole thing. And this will help those colors all blend together. Okay, I think that looks good. Now on the top of this pumpkin, because it's so small, I'm just going to go over it with the light. And then I'm going to go with the medium color. And I'm just going to go around where that stem is. And if you can see, I got that in the middle there. No worries. We do have a second one, or to fix that, I will show you what you can do. You can take your white pen and you can just dab where you went over a little bit. And that'll bring that white back. Just like that. Okay, now we're going to take the earth brown blend of our Tri-Blend Spectrum Noors. I'm going to start with the light. I'm going to go up on the top with the light. Then I'm going to go to the medium. And then the dark. Oops, I went back to the light. And the dark. I'm going to go back to my medium again. And then I'm going to go back to my light. Okay, and that takes care of the pumpkin. Now we're going to do the kitty. And for the cat, for the eyes, I colored those in black, this part in black. Okay. I did his nose in that light pink color. And then you're going to take your ice gray shades in your Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. I'm going to start with the dark. And the dark I got right up in here. And I'm going to leave this dark because this is the part that's going to go in the pumpkin. We're not going to worry about the rest of the body. This is the only part that's going to show. Then I'm going to go around the ears. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this and use a flicking motion on the bottom of him there. This one I only use 2 colors, so I'm going to go right to my light color and I'm going to start blending that in. Now I'm going to take the Alpine Green, and I used the medium color in the Alpine Green. And this little bit of the eye, I colored that in with this Alpine Green. Okay, and then I put, oops, forgot the inside of the ears. We're going to go back to that pink and do the inside of the ears. Now with my white pen, I did put some highlights. I put a dot and then just a little dash. A dot and a little dash. And then I just put a couple dots on the eyes of the kitty. And the same thing for the skeleton, a dot and a dash. I also added some highlights to the pumpkin. I just put the little dot and a dash just on each side of these lines. And then I put a highlight on this side of the stem. And we're done. We're going to go ahead and put our dies on, and then we will die cut these out. Okay, now we're going to start attaching our pieces to the house. We're going to take the cat and we're going to put her into the pumpkin. And I did this, we're going to cut this a little bit. I'm just going to fussy cut out this part because I don't want that tail to show. Okay. I'm going to take my glue, put some glue on the body, pick up the pumpkin, and we're going to put the cat on there. And I positioned the cat so that she's a little bit crooked in there, just like that. Right, now we're going to take the little top part, put some glue, and I put it on the left side, just kind of hanging on off that ear. Just going to hold that for a second. Okay, and then that will be positioned right down here. But before I do that, I'm going to cut a little bit of this bottom off so that it looks like it's sitting right on top of this part here. And that's going to get glued onto there. Okay, and we're just going to put that kitty right on there. Okay, now for the windows, we're going to take our skeletons and you're just going to slip them in there like this. You see how I'm doing that? You don't want this part showing, so just enough that that doesn't show. And then I moved them crooked a little bit, like that. Now I'm going to put some glue on the back of the skeleton and press that down. And then I will glue the back of this. I'm going to lift this just a little bit. Okay. And then we put our window in. And I put these windows crooked because it is supposed to be a haunted house. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue onto this window pane. Then I'm going to take my skeleton and I'm going to set him in there. Put him a little bit crooked. And I do see a spot that I need to fix. There we go. Okay. And now we will glue, oops. Now we'll glue this window down. And we're going to, again, make this a little bit crooked. And I'm also going to take some glue. I forgot to put the glue on the back of the skeleton. There we go. And then these guys go on the roof. This one, you're going to slip underneath there, underneath this window pane, so that it's just like that. So let's go ahead and put some glue. And then we're just going to fold that down. And then we'll glue the other little ghosty down. Okay, there we go. There's our front. Okay, so this is going to be added to the book. I'm gonna grab my book so that you can see. Oh, I did forget to do the stamping for the spider webs. Sorry, this video is not perfect because I am not perfect. Before you put the roof down and this column down, you want to take your spider web stamp and just stamp in the corners like this and emboss them. Okay. And also I did not stamp the bat. That is just stamped with the black ink. And then I took the green and filled in the eyes. I also put some spider webbing with this stamp before I put the window panes down in here. Sorry about that. I lost the footage of putting this book together. So before you put it on here, you're going to put a piece of the star paper down and then you'll lay your top on. For the side, I used the star paper again, and that was cut at 1 5/8 of an inch by 7 3/8 of an inch. And then from the sticker pack, I used a skeleton and a bone. On the back is that star paper again. And then this was just done with the scraps I had left over. The picture frame paper, and then the zip strip with the spiders. The picture frame paper is about 3 3/4 by 7 3/8. And the star paper is about 3 7/8. And then that strip goes on there to cover the line. On this side of the book, I used the frame paper again, and that is 1 3/16 by 7 1/4. And on the bottom here, I just used from the sticker sheet a piece of that candy and a frame. And that completes the book. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I hope everybody has a really good day. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. And I will see you in the next one. Also, let me know by leaving a comment if you liked this video. Bye.